Hello friends, here Dr. BC, and today in this video episode I am going to show you the teardown and the assembly of this Huawei Honor 5X and also tell you how to replace the LCD, battery, USB port, vibrator motor and the motherboard on this phone. This is my Huawei Honor 5X recently purchased from Flipkart at a cost of 12,999 rupees. For our previous video on this one, please click on the link flashing on your screen. Now in this video episode I am going to show you how to tear down this phone. Now to tear down this phone, first of all you have to turn off this phone, press and this power button and then power off, and then tap this touch to power off. Now once it is completely shut down, you have to take off this two Torx screws from the bottom of the phone. For that you will need a Torx T3 bit, and use that bit and take off this two Torx screws from the bottom of the phone. Now I had taken out these two Torx screws. Now it's time to pry off the back cover from the front frame. Now to pry this back cover, you have to first take off the SIM and the SD card slot. Use your pin and take off this SIM and SD card slot, and this one also a SIM slot. Keep that aside. Now you have to pry the back from the front frame. Now for that you will need a plastic prying tool like these plastic tools, and just start from this USB port. Use your fingernail and make a space in between this USB port and the front bezel. You can see the space is created. Now use that space and try to lift the back cover or back frame from the front frame. Now you can see that I have created a space here. There are few metallic clips on this side of the phone. You have to unclip that clips. You can see that it is unclipped. Now this side is done. Similarly you can go at that side. Now it is hard. Yeah. You can see that I had successfully unclipped the clips from two sides. Now it's time to push the back frame at slightly upper. Don't apply too much pressure. Yeah, you can see that now the back cover is separated. So you can see that it is very easy to separate the back cover on this phone. And now let's see the component on the back of this phone. On the back you will find a camera lens, flash LED lens, a cutout for fingerprint sensor, and nothing more. You can see that this back is made up of plastic and the aluminum. Both are fused together, and there is no antenna on the back of this phone. Slightly you can see that there is some pads here and also the connectors here, but this is not antenna connectors and nothing more. You can see that this portion is made up of plastic and this is aluminum, and on the back you will see that all of the sides is made up of plastic and in between the aluminum. Both are fused together. Very solid back. Now let's keep that aside, and now let's see the front side. You can see that on the front side you will find a motherboard, sub PBA part, battery, fingerprint scanner and the cameras. Now to take off this portion, first of all you have to unscrew this 1, 2 and 3 screws. This one is to release the battery and I think the LCD portion. Now once it is unscrewed, just use your tweezer and lift that metal shield. Now let's keep that aside, and now let's unscrew that screws. Don't mix the screw. Now it's time to lift this metal shield, and that is used to protect this sub PBA connector and this fingerprint connector. Now it's time to disconnect the battery. Use your plastic prying tool and unclip this battery connector. Now the battery is unconnected. Now similarly you will unclip this connector. This is for LCD, and then unclip this ribbon connector that is going to the sub PBA portion, and also this one, this is for the fingerprint scanner. Now use your plastic tool and try to lift this fingerprint scanner. It is stitched by a adhesive. You can see that it is successfully lifted up, and that is the fingerprint scanner of this phone. Now let's see the IC on that. That is 1532, model number is 1532. You can see that 1532 is the model number and revision R10, and the IC number is 486940. It is a custom made IC, and that is a fingerprint scanner. You can see that the clips adhesive on the back and on the front the IC which is controlling this. Now let's keep that aside and also zoom out so that you can see the remaining portion. Now to take out the motherboard, you have to unscrew this 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 screws from the back. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 screws. This first 2 is for that first top antenna, which contain a GPS, Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth portion. All of the antennas are here. You can see that I will use my fingernail or I will use this plastic clip to take out that. That is the antennas, and on this antenna you will find 2 connector pads. Yeah, you can see that is the connecting pads for that antenna. Now let's keep that aside, and also I will unscrew this 1, 2 and 3 screws to release the motherboard. Now the motherboard is unscrewed. Now it's time to disconnect all of the ribbon connectors. I have already disconnected this power, and that is battery, LCD, sub PBA. Now I will disconnect this 3G 4G antenna cable. It is disconnected, nothing on this side. Here is the power button and the volume button flex. I have to disconnect this also. You can see that. Yeah, now it is disconnected. Now it's time to lift the motherboard. Yeah, you can see that this is the main motherboard of this Huawei Honor 5X. Now if your camera is not working, like the rear camera is not working or the front camera is not working, then you have to replace this whole unit. Let's suppose your rear camera is not working, then you have to lift this rear camera like that, and that is a rear camera. Purchase a part, that is, I will tell you the part number, OHWBA05 O films A2 AF51. That is the part number. 5DM-D33G5F. That is a rear camera of this Huawei Honor 5X, and you can see that it is has a autofocus. Once you get a replacement, then you have to replace this part, align it and then press it in. Now the rear camera is ready to use. Now I will put that aside to proceed with the teardown. Now if your front camera is not working, then you have to replace this part, that is 5D2 D52 NGY. Again it is OHW5F03A1. You have to unclip this clip and then replace this part, get a part and then put it again like that. Now let's keep that aside. Now that is the main motherboard of this Huawei Honor 5X. Now let's zoom out so that I can show you the whole layout of this motherboard. On the back you will find a SIM trays, SD card and SIM tray, the processor and the memory section, and there is couple of ICs. Under this metal shield, the main microphone, LED, and that is proximity and ambient light sensor. And on this side of this motherboard you will find a 3.5mm headphone socket. Again that is some IC is missing. Later on the Huawei Honors will not include that portion in this Indian version of the phone, and that is some radio sections. That is the antenna connector, that is a PB connector, fingerprint connector, that is the LCD connector, battery connector, buttons connector. So let's see the ICs in this phone. To see the IC in this phone, you have to lift off this metal shields. Use your tweezer and try to lift the metal shield like that. That is the first metal shield. Now let's keep that aside. Second one, let's keep this aside. Third one, let's keep this aside. Now on the back you will find a big metal tray. that is the final one. Now let's see the components under this metal sheet. Now let's first see from the rear side. Now let's verify that this is the rubber gasket for the 3.5mm headphone socket. Now let's keep that aside, and now let's see the other parts. That is 3.5mm headphone socket, that is the pads, ground pad, nothing here, nothing here. That is the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and the GPS antenna pads, test point for that, metal shield, or that is ground connector. Now let's see that IC. Okay, that is this one is Qualcomm WTR 4905. That is a quad receiver, that is the RF receiver of this phone that will collect the signal from the antennas. If your phone is not showing the network, then you have to see this section, or you have to replace this part. That is the main RF section of this phone. You can see that there is some IC beneath this shield, and it is very hard to read that part. Similarly, you can find some ICs here. All of this section is for this transceiver section, which will collect the signal from the antenna, 3G, 2G and the 4G part. And now let's see that is the Skyworks 77648, that is the LTE amplifier. That surely is the LTE amplifier. That is a supporting IC, a custom IC, that is 8111. That is the power amplifier, that is the receiver section, and that is a power amplifier. Now let's see that portion. You can see that some portion is hiding behind this metal shield. It is soldered to the board, and it is very hard to see the part number on that. It is very hard. Now let's see that portion. I think that is a power section. You will see a varieties of big resistors and capacitor network. That is a power amplifier, that is from Qualcomm. Surely it is from Qualcomm. And nothing here. That is the rear part of the main motherboard. And now let's zoom out so that you can see the rear part in a single frame. That is the rear part. You can see here is the transceiver section, that is RF section, that is power amplifier section, and that is the power management section. And something is hide in behind this metal shield, and here you will find a flash LED. This one is a flash LED. And now let's see the front part of the motherboard. On the front part of the motherboard, you will find a connector. That connector is for the front camera, and that connector is for the rear camera. And again you will find that some ICs are hidden below this metal sheet. That is the secondary microphone for noise cancellation, that is the LEDs. That is the main memory of this phone, 16 GB. That is the Qualcomm 615 processor with 3 GB of RAM, and that is a SIM tray 2 with SD card slot, and that is a SIM tray 1, and that is proximity and ambient light sensor. So that is the main motherboard from the front side, that is from the rear side. So you can see that this motherboard contains a lot of ICs, mainly from Qualcomm. Now let's keep that motherboard aside. Now let's see the remaining section or remaining parts on the front frame. That is the front frame, and on the front frame you will find a sub PBA section. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 screws. Use your Phillips screwdriver and take out all of the 6 screws. Now I had taken out all of the 6 screws. Now it's time to take out this plastic. Now on that plastic you will find our main loudspeaker, that is the mono loudspeaker. The grill out on the bottom of the phone is only one. If you see it clearly, only one. This one is for the main loudspeaker. This one I think that is for the microphone. I will tell you this later on. That is the main loudspeaker of this one, and the loudspeaker connectors will go here, nothing more. Oh, you will find antennas pads on this side. Yeah, that is antenna for 3G and LTE. Yeah, this one. and that is the antenna for 3G and LTE. That is a sub PBA plastic. Now let's see the sub PBA part. Now sub PBA part is connected with the main motherboard by this flex. Disconnect that flex and you will find this whole thing, that is the flex cable connecting the sub PBA to the main motherboard. Now there is antenna cable, that is 3G and 4G antenna cable running from the main motherboard to the sub PBA part. Now the sub PBA part is released. Now it's time to take out that sub PBA part. Use your spudger and try to lift that one. It is stitched by a strong glue or double-sided adhesive. That is the sub PBA part of this phone. Now let's zoom in so that you can see whole of this in one frame. That is the sub PBA part, and on the sub PBA part you will find a micro USB port, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 connectors. That is the ESD protection ICs, the ground pads. I think that is again a ground pads, and that is the main microphone of the phone. Now if your microphone is not working, then you have to replace this whole sub PBA section, or either if your USB port is not working or charging is not working or data syncing is not working, then you have to replace this whole sub PBA part. On the front of this sub PBA part you will find a connector which is connecting the motherboard to this sub PBA part. That is, I think that is for, yeah, that is for the loudspeakers. Again small ICs or protection ICs, yeah, you can see that, and nothing more on this sub PBA part. So you can see that this sub PBA part consists of a USB, main microphone and also a loudspeaker. Nothing more on that sub PBA part. Now let's keep that sub PBA part aside. Now let's zoom out and let's see how to replace the battery on this phone. Now if you see the battery on this Huawei Honor 5X, you can find that the model number is HB396481ABC and it is rated at 3000 milliampere hour, that is 11.4 watt hour. Now to replace this battery, then you have to pull this tag. If you see that tag, you have to pull that tag. Use your fingernail or a plier and pull that tag. This will take out the adhesive from the bottom of this battery. Right now I don't have any plier with me. You have to just pull that tag and this will take out the adhesive from the back of this battery. Now there is another method. Without taking out that adhesive, you have to use this type of spudger and try to put that spudger below that battery like that and slightly insert it in, but make sure that you will not break this cable during this process. You can see that there is a strong glue at this side of the battery, this side. I am feeling that glue. Now I will use another thing. Yeah, now the battery is, you can see that I had disconnected the battery and there is again a strong glue here. Use a spudger. Make sure that you will not apply too much pressure. This will tear the plastic of the battery. Now I will try to insert the spudger from this side. Yeah. Now the battery is released. Now let's take out. Okay, again I think that is, the glue is very strong. You can see that I had successfully lifted the battery, but again it is stitched back to the frame. Yeah, now it is lifted up. That is the main battery of this phone, and if you see that the chemistry is from Sony, it is 32 watt US 396479H5 and it is 3078 JC040XJ108 and that is the logo. Now that is the main battery of this phone. Now if your battery is not working, then you have to replace this part. You have to buy this model number, and once you get a replacement, then you have to place this battery like that, align it and then put it on. and that by process you can replace the battery on this Huawei Honor 5X. Now let's keep that battery aside, and that is the main frame, that is the front frame of this Huawei Honor 5X. And on the front frame you will find still there is some components here. If you see it in one frame, you will see that there is a vibrator motor, and if your vibrator motor is not working, you have to replace this part. How to replace that? Just first try to lift these pads and then use your tweezer and insert the tweezer below that vibrator motor and try to lift that motor up and slightly raise the motor above, and that is the vibrator. You can see that it again stitched back to the frame. That is the main vibrator motor of this phone, and you can see that it is stitched by a very strong adhesive. You have to not worry about the adhesive because your new vibrator motor comes with that adhesive, but I want to use that part, that's why I am realigning this adhesive on the back of the motor. That is the main vibrator motor. You have to purchase this part, and then once you get a replacement, then you have to put the vibrator motor like that. First peel off the protecting sticker from this PCB part, then align the PCB, press it in, and then peel off the paper from the back of the vibrator motor and then align it and press it down. So you have to first start with this PCB connector. Now vibrator motor is ready to use, and that is the gasket for secondary microphone, that is the diffuser, light diffuser, that is LED diffuser, and that is the receiver speaker. Now if your receiver speaker is not working, then you have to lift this part. It is just like that. You have to use your tweezer, put the tweezer hit and then lift it up. You have to lift it up, and then that is the main receiver speaker, and you can see that the part number is 5120455, and once you get a replacement, then you have to peel off the sticker that is protecting the glue at the top, then align it like that. The connectors will face it down, and then align it and then press it in. That is the way by you can replace the faulty receiver speaker on this phone. And that is a flex cable that is connecting antennas from the sub PBA section to the main motherboard. It is like that, and that is the rubber gasket for the primary microphone of this phone, and nothing more to disassemble from this phone. Now if your LCD or the digitizer is not working, then you have to lift this cable up to here and then use your hot air gun or a oven or a furnace to heat this whole LCD portion at 60 degrees Celsius for around 5 minutes. Then use a IP and then try to lift this LCD with the help of this suction cup. Lift it up, and by that way you can replace the LCD and the digitizer of this phone. In this video I am not doing that because this will take much more time, and because it is very easy to get this whole LCD part with the frame. The cost is around $35 with the LCD. I think that it is around $35, and if you want to purchase only this LCD and digitizer, then you have to pay $5 or $10 less than that. And believe me, it is very difficult to replace this LCD and digitizer without the bezel on this phone. Now this completed the disassembly or the tear down of this Huawei Honor 5X. Now let's proceed to the next part of this video, that is the parts view. Now I will zoom out so that I will show you the whole parts in one frame. Now that is the parts of this Huawei Honor 5X. Now let's see the parts. It contains a back cover or back bezel, the sub PBA plastic, the screws, Torx screws, main motherboard, sub PBA board, the flex cable connecting the motherboard to the sub PBA board, main battery, the front frame with digitizer, LCD, receiver speaker and the vibrator motor, the metal shields, rubber gasket for protecting the 3.5mm headphone socket, SIM trays, 5 megapixel front camera, 13 megapixel rear camera, fingerprint scanner, metal shields to protect the connectors and the screws, and that is the antennas, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth and GPS antenna. That is the total parts view of this Huawei Honor 5X. Now I will proceed to the next part of this video, that is the assembly of this Huawei Honor 5X. Now to assemble this Huawei Honor 5X, first of all you have to place back this battery. I will try to place this battery first because that give me an idea. Now to replace the battery, you have to peel off the battery like that I have done in the previous section of this video. Once you get a replacement, you have to peel off the back that contain a strong glue, and once you peel off the back, just try to align the battery like that. Yeah, align the battery and press it down. Now the battery is aligned and ready to use. You can see that it is now aligned and ready to use. Now once the battery is aligned and installed, then you have to install this sub PBA section. It will go like that. Once you get perfect alignment, press it down. Now it's time to connect these connectors. This is for 3G and 4G antenna. Antenna is on the sub PBA plastic. You can see that it is very hard to align that small antenna. Yeah, now you can see that it is aligned. Now it's time to put back this cable. Now next is to connect this ribbon connector. It will go like that. This portion will face down, or it will connect to the sub PBA part. Align the sub PBA connector with that flex and then press it in. Now that portion is ready. Now it's time to put back the sub PBA plastic. It will go like that. You can see that the microphone is here and the loudspeaker is on the second side. You have to go it like that. Now press it gently. Now you can see that it is okay. Now it's time to put back all of the screws that is taken out from this PBA plastic. That is total in 6 number. These two bottom ones are black in color. Make sure that you have to put the black screw here. Remaining screws are same. You can replace this with the motherboard screws, doesn't matter, but you have to put the 2 black screws in this portion. Now the sub PBA part is done. Now it's time to align the motherboard. Before aligning the motherboard, you have to put back all of the metal shields. This is metal shield for the processor and the memory. You can see that there is a thermal paste on the both side of this metal shield. This metal shield or the thermal paste transfer the heat from the processor to that metal shield and then back to the front frame. That is very good technology. Align this metal shield like that and then press it gently from all sides. The metal shield is installed. Now it's time to put back this one, that is the RF section metal shield. You can see that it is not aligned. Now it is aligned and installed properly. Now it's time to put back the metal shield from this power management section. It is okay. Now it's time to finally this one, that is for the power amplifier or RF power amplifier. You can see that it is installed. Yeah, all the metal shield are back. Now it's time to put back the camera. First, this front camera. I will tell you that if your front camera is not working, then you have to replace this part, and once you get a replacement, then align it and then press it in. Similarly for this rear camera, it will go like that. You can see that now it is connected. That is the motherboard. And before proceeding to install this motherboard, make sure that this rubber gasket that is protecting this 3.5mm headphone socket from the dust, align it and install it like that. Now it's time to put back this motherboard on the front frame. It is very easy. You can see it like that. Take the motherboard, make sure that all of these flex cables are out, that is not coming in the front of this motherboard, and align this motherboard and then press it in. Now the motherboard is ready, I think, and now it's time to put back the motherboard screws. 2 white one will go here and one will go on the top. Now the motherboard is okay. Now it's time to put back this antenna, that is plastic bracelet. Put this black screw here and this one will go here. I think I have reversed that. I don't know about that, whether this black one is here or white one is here. Who cares? Now it's time to connect this connector. This one is for LCD. Don't connect right now the battery one. Now it's time to connect this flex, that is for the power on off and the volume rocker button. I will show you. It will go like that. Now lock that connector. Now it's time to connect the sub PB connector like that, and finally the fingerprint scanner. The scanner will go like that. Align these two holes with that plastic. Yeah, now it is okay. Now connect the connector. Also this one, that is for bottom sub PB antennas. Yeah, it is connected. Check it like that. Okay, it is connected. Now align the flex. Yeah, it is properly aligned. Now it's time to put back this metal shield or metal to protect these connectors. Yeah, you can see that this will go perfectly. Now it's time to put back this two white screws. Now it's time to connect this battery connector. This will go like that, and also the battery metal shield. You can see that this will go like that. That is the arrow indicating how this connector will go. You can see that it is now okay. Now put back the final screw. This one is not final. Final one is the Torx 2 screws. That is a final from inside. Now you can see that all of the screws are back, and now let's zoom out. Now you can see that all of the things are installed on this front frame. Now before proceeding to the next step, let's re-verify that whether the phone is turning on or not, because it is very good to see all thing is working perfectly or not before putting this back shield back. You can see that all thing is perfectly working. The touch and the buttons are working perfectly. Now let's see the fingerprint scanner. Yeah, it is working. So you can see that all thing is working perfectly. Now it's time to put back the back frame. Just go from the top side like that, align it like that, press it. Okay, you can see that. Yeah, press it like that, and then proceed to the bottom part. Yeah, now let's check the button. Yeah, it is working. Now press it gently. Now it's time to put back the two Torx screws. This is Torx T3 bit, and the screws will be only open through that bit. Now all thing is installed. Now let's see the phone. You can see the touch is working perfectly. The camera is working perfectly. The front camera is also working perfectly. So you can see that all things working perfectly. In conclusion, I will say that this Huawei Honor 5X is easy to tear as compared to La 1S, in which the LCD portion is stitched to the aluminum frame by a strong adhesive, and in that case it is very tough to tear La 1S. As compared to that, this phone is easy to tear, and this will make easy to replace the battery, USB port, vibrator motor, fingerprint scanner and the motherboard on this phone. Now this completed the teardown parts 2 and the assembly video of Huawei Honor 5X. If you like this video, give a thumbs up, share and subscribe. The subscription link shown on your screen. And for more videos on this phone and such type of teardown and many more, keep watching BCD Tech. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye.